We return once more to the land of, I guess technically the land of Great Britain. Like, very old Great Britain, but what else new? We are into the final trial of Case 5 of the first game. Will we complete it today? Who knows? Possibly. It's not impossible, but yeah, it's also not a big deal if we don't. But still. So, last thing that happened. Dear friend of ours, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, close enough, sure. Oh no, arrested for murder. Dear, not good. Also, dear friend for real, Susato. Back to Japan she goes. So we're on our own. Be in trouble. Cause Herlock be up in the hospital as well. But that's fine. I'm sure we can do this on our own. Everything's gonna be just fine. We're not in trouble at all. When I woke the following morning, Susato's sun was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets, and so began an even longer day than the last. One that I would remember for the rest of my days. April 17th, 9:32 a.m., the Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Now, we're going to play a game of can I remember how in the world I've voiced these characters before, and was it ever good? Probably not, but that doesn't matter. Good morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So where's your friend, then? Sorry? You know, in the fancy dress. Susato, how do you say it? I don't know. Miss Susato had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not that Miss Susato and I won't meet again. One day. Even so. But you, Gina. You only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two. Could I have a feeling? Yep, I called it. It was Iris. How you feeling, Jenny? Is your mouse asleep? Kitty. Let me pet the kitty. Iris, what are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend's in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? I love that cat. No, don't let the cat loose in the Old Bailey. Waggy! Great way to show your support, kitty. Great way. I don't have a nose around. What am I gonna do? I mean, it's a cat. And there's who knows how much old stuff in this building. Probably break a lot. That we'd have to pay for. Oh, that reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Bruno? Ginny? Oh, well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Nah, I always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. Absolutely, everything is just shattered and broken all over the place. And on fire, yep. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities. Let's not go there. Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. Huh? The bad news was a weather report? So I hope that seriously made a train to Dover and that the train isn't delayed on its way to the port. Gosh, yeah. Alright then, so what's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon, so even if the train is delayed, it should be able to make up the time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it? I'm gonna give 'em monkeys, really. I feel like there should be another word after that, but yeah. And again, we're just American. If only all good news canceled out the bad. Be nice. Hey, look, this trial's made the headlines too. Okay, that's lots of good news. Pawnbroker perishes in pick plus plunder. See? That's a bad headline for us, Iris. That's a very bad. I want you to know how bad that is. That doesn't look good for us. I don't like that. Hold on, say what they want, see if I care. I can't because you're covering your face. Don't worry, Reno will soon show everyone that this headline is nonsense. I will? And then in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be Discharged Diver is Dauntless Do-Gooder. Isn't that right, Reno? I don't know if necessarily they'll go that far with it. That's good to dream. Oh, yes, let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. Yes, great. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it? It's like she was still here. Safe paper purchased by Iris. Gina's case features That's interesting. It's weird that it became a court record. Hold on. You know me, I can't leave well enough alone. Okay, this one is just straight up notes. Pawnbroker perishes in pick plus plunder. How awful. For Jenny, I mean. But tomorrow's headline will be Discharged Driver is Dauntless Do-Gooder. Right? Yes, something like that. If possible, I'd like to go even bigger. Bigger? How? Proud pickpocket protects planet post-trial, perhaps? Okay, now we're stretching it a bit. Protects planet? Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's gonna be so great. Sure, yes. Great. Great. What's this? Hello? What's going on here? The sensational story lower than the front page as well. Look. Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. For a 10-year-old, Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of world news. It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently, they're being intercepted by hostile nations. Ye old Marmaduke. Oh, the dog's always getting up into some trouble, isn't it? Always turn me attention to the funnies first. It's a real ripper, that one. Okay, we're done. We're done insulting the British. Or being insulting. Because I don't know how to talk. Communications are being intercepted. But how would somebody be doing that? That's a question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far. I think for a new career, Reno. The fact that this is in the evidence and is something that might actually have relevance to everything that's about to happen, I have a feeling that protects the planet might actually not be too far off. No, of course not. I wonder, perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday. Yes, it could be. And it could explain why he has Gregsy running from pillar to post at the moment. Feeling my P's get much more pronounced in this accent. Alright, well, good thing I checked that immediately. Let me look at the evidence. Good luck then, Reno. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susan does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement. As long as you're not pointing that bazooka at me. You can point it at, the Reaper. What's his fucking name? I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but... Thank you, Iris. That's very kind of you. Gina? Definitely fire. 100% fire. If anyone's heart, it's Iris. No. Is mine? No. It's the 4 elements and then heart, right? It's those 5. It's fire, earth, water, air, and heart? So she would be either Earth because of metal, or because of heart. And that's just not remembering a fucking lick of... Yeah, and that's just me remembering not remembering anything about Captain Planet. I remember watching it as a kid. Remember nothing else. Oh yeah, Iris. Yes, Jenny. Well, I was wondering, is all about Sholmes. Did I fix him up alright? Yes. The operation was a great success. But heard he still hasn't come around yet. Which we know isn't true because he said goodbye to Miss Susato. Huh? I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Oh, right. No Susato-san and no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today, to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. Which is also interesting because Sholmes hasn't shown his face once in any of these trials, so...
Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense. The trial is about to begin. Please make your way into the courtroom.
It's time, then. Yes. Let's go, Gina. Iris. Lead the way, Bruno. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. And it's a lesson I've learned multiple times throughout this game because that's kind of the theme here. April 17th, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Wait, hold on, I recognize some of those jurors.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. The trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready.
Lord Von Zykes.
My lord.
Remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service?
And now he's only here for me. How sweet, I think? That he's only showing up for my trials? It was some 5 years ago, my lord.
And then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly. And here you are again today. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government.
Really?
Yet today you choose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, Consul.
I feel like I've lost his voice, but you know what else to do? There are two types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those worthy scoundrels who hide behind the mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large. That's why you were there for McGilded earlier. Yes? He means Mr. McGilded, who defended against the Reaper 2 months ago. Yes, I just managed to work that out. Thank you. Magnus McGilded. If I know what a monster he was, I never would have defended him. And secondly, even more awesome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to effect total betrayal in the final what? Only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confident tricksters from those tiny island. Oh, okay. I think he just admitted to being full-on racist, like 100%. In other words, the confident tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East, the Nipponese. Secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to effect total betrayal in the final hour, the Japanese. My dude, you're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud. That's rule number 1. What? Did you really just say that? He means you now, Reno. Oh, 100%. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Von Zeke's eyes. Was that directed solely at me? Or was he talking about all Japanese people?
An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Von Zeke.
Wait, no, wrong button. Total betrayal of all Japanese people. This is the only thing I can imagine he's talking about, but still doesn't really make sense.
So, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Malefactors. Hold on.
Your lordship is too kind.
Now, jurors, the 6 of...
Alright, it was always 6. For some reason I thought it was only 5.
The 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people.
How small is London that we keep getting the same jurors, the same people keep showing up? I feel bad for these people, honestly. And it's like, they get jury duty like every few weeks at this point. Hold on! Hold the phone! Hold the goddamn phone! Hold on, guys? Guys, this one, right above my head? That one? You see him? That one? Right there? Isn't that a motherfucking, what's his name? I don't remember his name, but he's a goddamn Russian assassin. What the fuck's he doing here? What is happening? And also, that's the old man from the last trial that was also a juror. Is he a doctor? I've never seen him a doctor. I don't know who that third person is. Motherfucker on... You motherfucker, I'm looking at you. What the fuck was his name? The fucking general guy on the far left. I see that goddamn blush. You dumb motherfucker. I thought you weren't cheating on your wife. I thought that was the whole point. But never mind.
Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant?
Yep, nope, he's okay. Good. Great. This guy. What was his voice?
Well, we're lieutenant in the British Army here. Don't you know? Chaps like me were born ready.
Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think. Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely, absolutely everything. And I'm ready for it. I don't know who you are. You're the only one I don't know.
I don't understand it. I can't have left it there.
No, what was his voice? He's an older man. I don't know. Could I have? And who are you Morse coding to? Woman indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future awaits. Stop.
Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
Okay, how the fuck did you get jury duty? You're not a citizen. What? How? What? I have so many questions. I love his mouse though. But he's 100% an assassin. I remember that from the fucking newspaper when we were on the boat to get here. Ryunosuke, please tell me you recognize this man. Is something wrong, Reno? Oh, not exactly. It's just... I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact. Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know?
My mouse name is Vladimir Massini.
I almost couldn't say that without cracking, and well, actually, no. I did crack a little bit. But she got a point. There's a lot of people here. How does this keep happening? So I've been led to believe. Something tells me I'm being duped.
Very well. Now, Lord Van Zykes, the court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case.
As you wish, my lord.
Allow me to begin with a word of warning to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. I always hate the prosecutors in these games. They all suck, every last one of them. They have their good... Well, actually, no. Hold on. What the fuck was his name? Coffee guy from the first... Was it from the first game? Actually, by the end of all the games, all of them were actually pretty good. But so far, I really like... But, like, he's a really interesting... Well, no, I just don't like him. He's kind of an asshole. Edward was an asshole, too, but by the end of the first game, he was good. Francesco was just... smash. And the coffee guy was kind of cool. The victim, Mr. Pop Winterbank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. Some think it's Rat, but if it were Rat, it would be named Rasputin Draganov. But no, name is Vladimir Massini. Clearly it's Mouse. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. As the court will observe, there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in near-instant death. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner, his report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. Ah, shit. That's a problem for us, because it means that the gun was lower, because it was pointed up. Which would happen if the assailant was shorter, which Gina is. However, the shadows from the pawnbrokery that night, there was a very short person there as well. So, you know, we're not dead. We're just in trouble. What else is new? And what's that supposed to tell us? It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone like the accused, you might say. The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord. Indeed, the court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please. Autopsy report has been entered into the court record. Crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record. I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. Yeah, nope, that doesn't look good. The proprietor is found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry. A door to the main shop that was found locked. In the sealed chamber, there were only two persons present. The victim, Mr. Winterbank, and the accused. Shit. It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had an yeah, she was also unconscious. I feel like that's kind of important. Like that should be an important note for the jury. Oh crap. Oh, that's hot then, isn't it? That must say. Isn't that grubby little girl pickpocket anyway? She's one of those filthy tramps that live in the slums in the East End. Oh well, there's only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then. Hello, Dag. Welcome. What are the judge waiting for? We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive. Did I? I didn't. Didn't it sound like I did? Did not. Everything alright? Oh, this motherfucker is wine. My learned Nipponese friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Ah, crap. Oh, it did? Weird. Does it sound good now? We good? Everything fine? Conveniently, this appalling act of murder. Okay, cool. As long as we're fine now, I'm just gonna chalk it up to a weird technical glitch. And crackling. Weird.
There were witnesses.
Good gracious!
After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Bit of a big purse or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth. I don't like you.
The court will take the floor plan and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Dykes.
At once, my lord. Crime scene floor plan has been entered into the court record. Windibank's revolver has been entered into the court record. Oh, this isn't good. No, it is not. Let's take a look at that evidence before we do anything else. Details of victim. Name, Pop Windibank. Occupation, pawnbroker on Baker Street. Time of death, 16th of April, 1 to 1:30 a.m. Reporting party, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Single bullet wound in upper half of victim's back, no other visible signs of trauma. Instant death from a posterior anterior bullet wound to the heart. Bullet entered the body from the back on a gently rising diagonal trajectory. Let's see here. Blood. Bullet wound. Hands are clean. Pockets empty. Hair. I don't know how... there's really not much this thing can tell us, is there? Not much to learn out of that. Okay. Oh, this really doesn't tell us... Wait. Yeah, this doesn't really tell us much either. Except, how did... When we crashed in, they shot Sholmes. Sholmes fell here. How did they escape? Because they would have had to go right past us. I guess maybe they did? This is Mr. Windibank's gun. The cylinder is completely empty. Mr. Windibank always used to keep this gun on hand on his shop counter. Yes, but only ever with a single bullet loaded, I understand. That's right, to keep all the pawned articles that were in his case safe. But as one bullet was fired that night, and the poor man lost his life. Was he protecting his shop, I wonder? Trying to keep the articles safe? Curse a time before fingerprints. Yeah, that's something that they're gonna have to explain, because that also doesn't necessarily make sense. Crap. There's absolutely nothing to be learned of this gun right now. That is unfortunate. This isn't good. I feel like the mood in here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Reno. I think that's because it has. Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windibank on 16th of April of this year. Uh-oh. I have so many questions. Witnesses, state your name and occupations for the court. We got Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and Gregsy. Name's Ashel Culkin. Occupation is body. Profession of body. Wait, no, hold on. What's a good voice for these two? Name's Nash Skulkin. No. That made me laugh. Nah, that's a better idea for the small one. Oh, God. Cockney. Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is, body. Profession of body. Name's Ringer Skulkin. Occupation's same as him. The boy is Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right. Well, no. That's right. We're what they call... This is gonna be such a slapstick routine. The three Skulkin brothers. Three Skulkin brothers. God, I did not do any research. I feel so bad for Gregson. What are you looking at me like that for? Don't let me in with you lot. Cool, blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through? It's all the brav. Lost contact with them we have. So we're scouring every shady corner of the capital. And last night I come across you. A very spit of the bloke. And that didn't go. The fucking pun that just hit me. I was like, Ringo? That's Japanese for apple. Holds up an apple. It's like, you motherfucker. I see what the fuck you're doing. Very spit of him. Nash. Now that is probably a very similar joke, and I just don't know enough Japanese for that one yet. So we decided there and then what we was gonna do. We was gonna call you Big Bruv Skulky. That was technically the shorter one, but whatever. Let's come on, live it out, you two. Skulky Skulkin? That's before he runs out of sip. Shit. My brain is not working today. I can't read or talk.
Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson.
Oh, come on. Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias.
What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you are doing in the witness stand.
And that's how the witness stand keeps getting larger and larger. It's gross to fit the number of people. The Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on suspicion of theft.
Thieves, are they, these three?
No. No, my lord. Begging your pardon, but please don't let me in with this lot. 2 nights ago, these 2 brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. And in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime.
By Jove, you mean to say, what an extraordinary coincidence.
Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder. Do we not see the shrimp boat there that also is the perfect height to have?
Order, order!
The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceedings, though they will naturally face trial in the very near future. With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow.
Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand.
Mr. Skulkin, you will not testify before the court. I don't know why that one word is fucking me up so much. Describe the events of the night in question and what exactly you saw. Up at 2. Cause a skulkin's never skulkin'. I'm sorry, what? Oh my fucking God. Get out of it. Those fucking Waluigi Wario ass looking motherfuckers. Illegal entry. I was walking down Baker Street in the small hours, and the gas door was open, it was ajar, see? It was like some kind of sign, begging for us to go in, it was. But once we got inside, caught blimey Louie. I heard a gunshot from the back room. I went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. We never done nothing, governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that nice and quiet. Now that we know is false because motherfucking Herlock Sholmes got shot. If nothing else, you're guilty of that.
A terrible coincidence, it would seem. At the precise moment these miscreants entered the property, and even more since the crime was afoot.
The witness testimony is consistent with the crime scene in every detail. The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from the inside, and within, only the victim and the accused were found.
I must say, it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case.
Appearances can be deceiving, my lord. It really was completely pointless. Like, absolutely nothing happened there. They saw no one. They heard nothing but a gunshot.
Still, the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now, of course. Counsel, if you please.
It's like they really told us nothing new.
Counsel?
Yes. What's the matter, Reno? Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair on the stand. I know that it's all nonsense, because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll just have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies it is. Couple of fools there, huh? Alright, just walking down Baker Street in small hours. There's nothing really important there. There's like some kind of sign begging for us to go in, it was. Once we got inside, cold blimey, we had a gunshot from the back room. Alright, let's ask them a little bit more details. A gunshot, you say? Just the one. Are you sure about that? Yeah, just the one, Governor. I can swear to that. It was, Nash, it was. Ain't that right, bruv?
Firearm used belonged to the victim himself.
Yes, Mr. Wenderbank always used to leave his gun lying around on the counter. Right, I remember. Wow, this really is old school England, because boy, that sounds more like America there.
When we examined it, we found the revolver was completely out of rounds.
That makes sense. Mr. Wenderbank always used to say he only ever kept a single bullet loaded. That's true. I remember him saying that as well.
So we can say with considerable certainty that only a single round was discharged from the firearm used as the murder weapon.
Yes, my lord, we can. And I should remind the court that the firearm in question was discovered in the hand of the accused. The unconscious accused. She was also knocked out. She wouldn't be fucking asleep. Wonderful. Well, I see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. Never done nothing. We never took none. We just left after that, nice and quiet. We know that's a lie. Hold it! And I need more information on this. Do you mean the door between the main shop and its storeroom? If my learned friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would help. Excluding the shop's entrance from the street, there is only one other door, that of the storeroom. Of course, there's only a little oil lamp burning, not much to see by. And the door was hidden behind a curtain. That's right. When we arrived, the door was mostly obscured by the curtain. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door? Eh? Any normal petty thief would run at the sound of a gunshot, I should think. Oh, well, your turn to rabbit, Ringo. Well, Nash, yeah. I suppose you'd have to say we ain't normal, eh? Broadly speaking, humans respond in one of two ways on hearing a gunshot or scream. The timid flee, gripped by fear, while the courageous investigate to see if they might help. These gentlemen are of the latter inclination. My learned Nipponi's friend, it would seem, is of the former. But you can't really make that. That's not really a judgment call you can make. Look at how sweaty they are. How sweaty I am. Alright, somehow I just proved that I was a coward that night.
Thank you, constables. So, I believe we all understand that the door was locked and could not be opened. Proceed, witnesses.
Now, this we know is a lie because they fucking shot me. So, you didn't do or take anything. Is that your story? Well, it was bedtime soon, wasn't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull my dukes out of me loose. The fucking slang. To pull me dukes out of me loose lockets. So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left, nice and quietly, you say? That's right, Governor. No, we ain't more than violent. Peace-loving nibblers we are, not bludgers. We are, Nash, we are. Never even pulled me dukes out of me loose lockets. So you clearly like us to believe. Had to give a take two. Come again. As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? And did you not fire a gun at that person?
Saints alive, they fired a gun, you say?
Blimey, Governor. You ain't telling us it was you in that doorway? Oh, and everything falls apart. It was. What a pleading Nora. Didn't you mention that before? You were armed with a gun, and as you fled the scene, you fired that gun at London's greatest detective, Herlock Sholmes. They shot the great Mrs. Sholmes?
I did hear that, actually. There's a rumor he'd been rushed to hospital.
The great Sholmes must be on the pale. On the night in question, these pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. The suspicious contents rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. You motherfucker. Here's the thing. That's very important information. Like, to this case, like, technically, like, for you to get Lestrade, like, convicted as guilty, maybe it's not important. But dear God, is that not an important thing to have? It's out there, in general. It's like, oh yeah, we have these two witnesses that are thieves as well. They were there the night the murder happened. They have a gun. That's not important. I'm not going to tell you that until someone else brings it up. It's like, and one of them is also significantly shorter than Mr. Windibank. So it's just like, furthermore, the barrel shows signs of the shots having been fired from it. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from these brothers. Yes, indeed. There is a powder around the muzzle, as you say, Constable. Oh, 100%. 100%. It's legal malpractice all around. Usually from the prosecutions, occasionally from the defense attorney. But that's a little rarer. There's only a little bit of evidence falsifying, and that's only in later games. For the most part, we're on the up and up. Cause you know what else is malpractice? Withholding it, like, being like, not showing the evidence to like the defense beforehand as well. Like a lot of like presenting stuff in court. It's like, no, as far as I'm aware, you kind of need that stuff ahead of time, so that the court can be like processed and be like, okay, this is good to show to the jury and all that, and whatever. Anyways, the court will hold this weapon as evidence. The Skulkin brothers' gun has been entered into the courtroom. And he doesn't seem... No, my learned Nipponese friend. Yes? Is to you successfully presenting the evidence? For yes, there are telltale signs of powder on this gun, and a single bullet missing from the... Ah, shit. That's actually not good for us anymore. A single bullet missing from the chamber. Crap. Okay. That's fair. That's fine. Okay. You know, we can still make this work. Because what he's about to say is, the reason why the gun doesn't matter is only a single bullet was shot, and it's currently in the body, or was in the body of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Which means, oh, definitely was not the gun that was used to kill Mr. Windibank. Now, to that I say, why would they shoot us if they weren't guilty of something? Like, they still shot at us. Like, that's still a problem. And also, let's say they didn't have Windibank's gun, shot him, knocked her out, put the gun in her hand, and then left because the door has a little window on it, like I mentioned last time. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny this trial.
Objection!
Well, I don't need evidence, because I was there!
Objection!
However, the rest of us in this courtroom were not. If the defense fails to provide evidence in support of its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast their incompetence and move on. I mean, the easy thing is to say, Sholmes has a medical record at this point. Like, Gregson knows that he's been shot, so... Oh boy. Evidence these two fired the gun before they left Windibank's that night.
The court demands that all claims are affirmed with clear proof. What evidence was that these witnesses unloaded a firearm in the pawnbroker's shop?
No. Was it this? Crap. That night? Let me take a look at this real fast, I guess. So, there's ammunition still loaded in 5 of this revolver's 6 cylinders. Yes, which tells us only a single shot has been fired from it. Exactly. The bullet that hit Hurley, in fact, isn't it? Yes, it opened almost as soon as we'd walked in through Windibank's door. I'll make those brothers pay. Well, she ain't happy. You have to inspect this gun very closely. Very closely. The still loaded gun, because it's still loaded for some reason. Crap. Okay. Okay, yeah, we have... Is this evidence? Yeah, because there's the bullet, or a bullet. It's really high up there, though. I guess it's the only option I have. Try and present the blood samples. The evidence is in this portfolio.
What honors have you there, Consul?
During the course of our investigations, we discovered a number of bloodstains.
Not trusting the police to do the job they're trying to do. How arrogantly Nipponese of you.
I hate this man. Well, anyway, we analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio.
And you claim to have the evidence the corpse is demanding therein.
Yes, my lord.
No more darling then, Consul. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene?
The only one that works is this one?
Take that!
What is that? Explain.
It's a photographic print taken at Windibank's pawnbrokery on the day of that incident.
From the scene of the crime, is it?
No, actually, it's not.
Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged there.
Yes, as your lordship noticed. The bullet pierced Mr. Windibank's calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death.
The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight. This indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th.
That's right. And while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes... This is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round from their gun in the pawnbrokers that night. Oh. I don't do screams. I don't know why. Just my brain is just like, don't scream, don't scream.
Order! How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zykes?
Toss the cup. Toss the cup, you fool. Do it. I dare you.
If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, the prosecution has no objection.
Oh, I don't trust that. What? Oh, there he goes. Bye! Just keep setting stuff on fire.
But you'll forgive me for flinging my hollow chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes.
Your hollow chalice? If it was that hallowed, why did you throw it? How many of those have you broken?
Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. Unlike the bold bodies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back onto the street.
Eh? Take it easy there, Governor. You're gonna land us in the soup. We had a deal. You weren't gonna get into them details? Okay, not that. Tell him, Sulky. Set the bloke straight.
I've nothing to add.
So he knew, did he? Van Zykes knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes. What's your play here, Zykes?
It would seem now that I loaned my learned Nipponese friend a word of gratitude.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed an important fact. To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zykes? As has been established, at the point of their arrest, a single shot has been fired from the brother's gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and victim.
They still can, if we assume they used the other gun.
In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windibank at all.
Okay, that's technically true. So that's it. You guys are Okay, I was about to say, you guys are real bad at this. I say, we didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, Nash, we didn't. That's what I reckon. The crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and, let us not forget, attempted murder. Gotta cut it along, yeah, fellas. Fellas. Praying for it now, bruv. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Where's he going with this? Mr. Holmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery. Eccentric? Says who? Not me. Don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one on the victim's shop. Oh, crap. I forgot about those. That's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders.
What is that, Consul? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption.
As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Every half an hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break in the shop, he would be caught red-handed. The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question. 8 p.m. 8:30, not helpful, keep going. Keep going. Go a little faster, we know this is all the same. As the court will observe, copious identical prints are produced in quite desultory fashion.
Rather prodigal, I feel.
In fact, there are 2 such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer the court to the plan of the premises, the respective positions are here and here.
You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals.
One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera. That's a bit of fraud talk, eh, bruv? Lady Luck loves his skulking. He doesn't take pictures of himself, he called Mefos. Mefos. Unless it's supposed to say Mephies. These ought to be Mephies. With an I instead of an L.
Witnesses, at what time did your trespassing begin?
Must have been just after 1. Right, bruv? Right, bruv? Must have been, Nash, must have been. Yeah, just go on. In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment. Mefos from photos of me. Okay, in which case, what scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Wait, what? Okay, guys, uh-oh. This might be a bit of an issue. That one looks like a problem.
Good lord! It's the defendant! It's Gina Lestrade!
Uh-oh. My dude, we in trouble. As the court can clearly see... take 2. The accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter. Also, she's not shorter than him. They're about the same height. Mr. Winterbank is not a tall dude. No doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to the storeroom. I feel like we don't know that for sure, but...
Quite. One can only too eagerly imagine the events that unfolded.
But that's not evidence? I mean, that's not evidence that that's what's happened? We don't know what they're saying? We're looking at one tiny little snippet? We don't know what they were saying or talking about? Or what happened before that? It's entirely possible she just got tired of him seeing put the gun to his head. It's like, give me that. Stop messing with that stupid thing.
He's like, good lord, you took the gun from me. The court will take this photographic print as evidence. If you please, counsel.
See, here's the thing. I assume she didn't ask for it. She's like, okay, you are flailing around with this thing too much. I'm taking that out of your possession before you shoot yourself. The photograph of Gina has been entered into the court record. Ugh. I don't believe it. Ginny. Can we get the accused on the witness stand to talk, please? In short, the accused is the only person who could possibly have killed Mr. Windibank. That's still not technically true. That's a bad sign. I say, my lord. Wait, who's talking? Oh, wonder if I'm not putting a word at this point.
Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Took a bally bullet to the knee in the battle of my window in 1080, don't you know? Decorated forward and all that, and first to retire from service, sadly.
Sadly? Of course, America can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield. There we go, that's much better. There's the voice I think I had from before. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point?
Carried on the battle of retirement, you see.
Carried on the battle
Battle of daily life, if you like. Here I am now, leading this small squadron. 6 men, all good and true. Good and true? Nope, hold on, I lost it again. We'll all go down together, you mark my words. One for all, and all for one. I've lost his voice like 3 different times in that for some reason. Blah. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand?
Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct?
In a manner of speaking, yes. There's the Garadep Squadron's position, sir. What? No! It's too soon to make a judgment here. Status report for the court, men. On the double. His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions, too. I think you'll find the truth is clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it.
I wouldn't have left it in there. I just wouldn't.
But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth now undeniable. Stop.
I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in this matter. Announce your considered verdict to the court.
Guilty.
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 Guilty. Oh, that's much more fun, isn't it? Add a little bit more texture to the assassin. Massini is very displeased with skulking brothers.
It does indeed appear that the jury is unanimous in its leaning already.
That photograph. It must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned. But Jenny didn't shoot him. No, of course not. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to summation examination. Guilty. I'm going to have to remember those lines.
Very well.
The court grants permission. I've already forgotten everyone else because, boy, the assassin dude just took over all my brain cells. So, you refuse to admit defeat again. Oh, unsurprising. I'm sorry, excuse you. Every time I've done the summation examination before, it's worked out in my favor. So fuck you.
We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready?
Absolutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what ground you have determined the defendant to be guilty. The old man, too. I think I'm remembering his as well.
Judicial findings. Need a beer, that. Now, see, the problem is Van Zykes only drinks Bloody Marys as his drink of choice. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt to this young pickpocketing. As a housemaid, I should like to see all 50 eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that if you had a look at that photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out.
If I've left it in there, I should think it'll be repercussioned by now.
Mind made up. Stop. Global radio transmission to verdict to follow. A verdict to follow. Stop.
Guilty. In motherland, we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced the brothers are innocent.
I feel like none of that explains anything.
The circumstances of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom looked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. And in the accused's hands, the fated revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print.
Taken from a chap who's seen action on the battlefield. A young girl's on the verge of pulling the bullet trigger. She does have bad fit trigger discipline, I will admit to that much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh dear. Oh, this camera's supposed to help, not hinder.
1 second. I'm afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you.
Don't we always? Oh. Hydrate and posture check. Let's, okay. Quick stretch. Get some water. Water good. But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. Which means there's more to the situation than we've yet to see. They have words. Agreed.
You have the floor, Counsel. Proceed with the summation examination.
Guilty. Sorry, that's just gonna use that voice for a minute. The defense's rebuttal. Okay. Pickpocket. I'm just gonna start real fast. You are so important to this. Yeah, he is. I saw that too. I was like, that's weird. I was like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. Okay, I just need to see what he's talking about. What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that.
Oh, so sorry. Guilty. So sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm a surgeon.
A surgeon? That totally passed me by.
Of course, people conducting surgery in this country aren't considered to be doctors, oh no. Even though me and my kind are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field.
So, what is it that you think you've left behind?
Well, that's so embarrassing, to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday, and the thing went in through the abdomen. But then I'd finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere.
What? Did he? Surely not. Please cut to Sherlock Holmes having a scalpel just stuck in his guts. Please, I beg of you.
Exactly. Surely not, you see to yourself, won't you? Hurrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really.
That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter.
That's exactly my concern. And seeing as this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need to focus on trying to remember exactly what I've sewn up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. But surely you can't be without being sure.
I'm sure you need to be more sure. I think it might be time for him to retire.
Hold it!
Sorry, radio transmission. What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communication with Far Eastern nations. All communications with Far Eastern nations used to take place by mail. Royal Mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. Ah, but now we have the electric telegram. so we can send messages using electric signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds connecting the entire world. Thousands of miles of cable? On the ocean bed? That makes my head hurt just thinking about it. You are well informed, young lady. But cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop. And just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over airwaves to 4 corners of globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What other piffle? I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys. I'm sorry, sir. Do you have something to say?
Excuse me.
Juror number 3. Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but... What? What? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remarks? As if I couldn't guess. Oh, you bet I do! Say that again! Go on! How dare you! Goodness, are you talking to me? I think you just might be, yes. You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you? Huh? Well, I mean, no, having the knowledge of the future, the answer is more or less yes. Absolutely. I mean, really. A machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions. Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional. What a great way to appease the man. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all. Wait, hold on. Herlock Sholmes, you genius. He didn't, did he? No, they're too far apart for that, aren't they? This one has a sister image. I just thought about it. It will have a practical use. Because the thing I didn't notice initially until they pointed out, I was surprised to learn that the cameras are both angled peak. In other words, they're side by side. They're not quite at eye width apart, but given enough distance. But it is? That's weird. Hold on. Popping again? Why is it popping again? It did? What did we miss? Did you hear my rant? About the cameras? Why did it do that? It's never done that before, has it? Only was out for a second. Weird. That is incredibly weird. Not messing. I'm literally not even touching it or any of its cables. Okay. But yeah, I have absolutely no idea what happens. That doesn't make any sense at all. If it gets too bad, then I'm gonna have to close stream or just end the stream, and we'll figure it out later. But hopefully, it'll only be like minor inconveniences. Basically, okay. Point I was making. I'm not sure if the width, like the distance between the cameras, is gonna cause an issue, but there is a second image, and I think that's what's going to help us. You just don't know. Pardon? I think you'll find that view in a photograph. Yeah. Find that view in a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Well, take a crime scene, for example. If you had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it can reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before. What? Have you got any, Runo? Any prints we can look at with a stereoscope? How about this print here? It should do the trick, I think.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'll be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you. Oh crap, we don't have it. We don't have it. Son of a gun. No! Curses! We need that print. But I can't go back. I can't just undo it. Wait, sorry. What do you mean? Oh, okay. Oh dear, oh dear. Don't you have these in the Far East? Don't you know how a stereoscope works? Bruno, what? You need to... You need 2 photographs for a stereoscope, remember? Remember? Right, cross your eyes and if you have the right distance. I'll pop out. But I can't, for whatever reason, I can't do it. So the problem is, okay, here's the problem with the way that this is setting it up though. Is that, if you notice from the way that he has his down, they're not directly next to each other like this. So that's why it was messing me up so much last time to try and do, like, cross-eye on this. It's because it's not supposed to work like this. It's also hard to figure out that distance. It also hurts. I also feel like every time I cross my eyes, like they immediately uncross if I try and focus, if I try and see anything beyond my own nose. Ah, pain. Oh yes, I remember now. But the print we have from a pawnbroker is just a normal photograph. No, I think you'll find that the clue is in the name. It's a stereoscope, not a monoscope. You always need 2 prints. It does not, that's true, the glasses don't help. Thanks for the friendly explanation. Well, if we obtain another print at some point later in the trial, we can always show it to this young man then. Iris, aren't you supposed to be the smart one? I am sending my brainwaves through time and space and dimension to get to this little girl to be like, there is another print. We know what... okay. I think you'll find that know-it-all expression is really starting to annoy me.
Let's get things back on track, shall we, Consul?
Slightly different location, but it's the scene in 3 dimensions.
Hold it!
That. Can it really show up new clues, though? Don't know unless you try. No, damn it. Let me go back, because I know that this isn't right. We don't have it.
Take that!
Okay, that's fine. Here, take this one for no goddamn reason. Okay, glasses, we need to find it first. Let me see if I can do this without glasses. Riveting. I don't think that made it worse. That made it work a lot less. At least we can just cut through all that. In Netherland. Yes, because he said guilty like this. Guilty. In Motherland, they say never judge by clothes, blah blah blah, whatever. Please tell me you're not violent Bolshevik, a Russian revolutionary. Revolutionary? I'm surprised that he remembered that name, all things considered. Was it? Violent Bolshevik. Da. I believe there is such a rumor. It's just a rumor. As you see, I have unfortunate appearance. I look like a vicious criminal. You talk like one too. Your words, not mine. Just want to point that out. People call me revolutionary, murderer, autocrat. And which glove fits? Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. Crystal Tower, please. Right, that ain't some stage at all. You'll forgive me for having my doubts. To be treated like a vicious criminal all the time, it is very painful. People do not realize. Though I have much sympathy for these brothers, people say they are criminals only because of how they look, and because they admitted it themselves. Skulkin brothers? Da. Maybe they went inside pawnbroker's shop. They have done nothing wrong. That is all I want to say. The Skulkin brothers did nothing wrong that night? Alright, well first of all, that's one not so little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. A little bit. Tell me something, Iris. Why is it rare now? The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they? Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? In that case, how is it that there's a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary? I wish I knew. If I can't change the minds of more than half of these 6 jurors, the trial will be over. But we know that she would never shoot anyone. Yes, so we need to find contradictions in what these jurors are saying and pit them against each other. I must be ready to go to whatever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence.
Hold it!
Guess we're just gonna start pressing. You're Mr. Natsune's landlord, Mr. Garrett, aren't you? We really must stop meeting like this.
Good. Oh, you're that lawyer chap. Oh, it doesn't turn out for the books. Yes, rather a turbulent time we had back then.
Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Luckily, Mr. Sholmes and I were able to get to the bottom of it all. I think we did rather a lot for you, didn't we? We can't. Okay, this is illegal what we're doing here. I mean, obviously. I wouldn't be suggesting that therefore you should change your leaning to not guilty or anything.
Could have been an odd, I suppose. Of course, the Garrett house was the talk of the town after that business. The law just moved out and I couldn't get a body soul to take up the tenancies.
Oh?
I had the heart to break the news to Johnny out. Bad enough that the old girl's cropped up. Yes, can't be denied. He did do rather a lot. But not for us, that's for dash certain.
I suppose not.
Of course. There can be no suggestion of that being the reason I'm leaning towards guilty here, obviously.
Obviously. But honestly, I really wish he'd pay more attention to the trial and less to juror number 2. That's right, his wife is more or less in jail. As a housemaid, I should like to,
Hold it!
polishing the bench, I see. Again. A maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain. What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores? On my way to market for his lordship, I had to pass through the East End. And here I was thinking you were cute. Place is full of beggars, pickpockets, and crossmen. The scum of the earth. Hi, wristwatch. I thought she was cute. Oh, have you never noticed? Oh, right, because you were only here for Elden Ring. Yeah, no, hi, wristwatch, yes. Technically, this is my normal form. The other one is just for Elden Ring, because OBS, Elden Ring, and this all at once, not happy. Not happy at all. Yeah, that's true. I basically only use that when either this isn't working properly or for Elden Ring, because very, very taxing game for my poor computer that has to do everything all at once. But yeah, my own little robo body that I made myself. Fun time, love it a lot. Where was I? Yes, no, I thought this girl would be cute. But no, it turns out she's potentially that's true. Well, because the Discord reactive with the PNG tuber, yeah. But yeah. But yeah. Where was I? I feel like I got completely sidetracked by talking of this. A little harsh, perhaps. What's the word I'm thinking of? Class traitor? Is that the right word? Because she's a maid. It's not like she's nobility herself. Let me be plain. If it up to me, all those backslams would be made spick and span or eradicated. I'd have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals. Oh my. That sounds really brutal and harsh. You're referring to Mr. Herlock Sholmes? The man who is not only good friends with, you know, urchins, like he actively helps the poor and the downtrodden? Like, that's kind of his whole shtick. That's right. I have to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Rand's magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital. Mr. Sholmes? A maid? Alright, look. I would normally never, well, no, I would advocate for this law. But there has to be fan art of this, right? This one sentence, there has to be fan art of that. I'm 100% certain that that exists somewhere. It's really quite unforgivable. Cut the scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective. Are you mad at... Wait, hold on. The ones who shot the detective were these two chucklefucks. Minor detail. It was the two brothers in the stand that shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant. A minor detail indeed. They're all guts of scum as far as I'm concerned. Well, it just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyway. Yes, alright. I shall amend my statement. Those brothers are scum of the earth. We're just gonna have fun. We're just gonna have fun with these two, see what happens. I'm not even...
Objection!
I'm just gonna let these two have fun.
Good lord! Consul, explain yourself.
Oh my statement, contradictory. Juror number 6, you got the wrong end of the stick.
I do not have stick. I have mouse.
As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene on the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear.
Abdomen.
Sir?
Sorry. My English is still learning.
You are telling the court you didn't hear.
Forgive me, I did not hear. Ugh. Here is word. Abdomen. Part of person's body containing stomach and other vital organs. If this is what you mean, you should say in plain English. I am Russian, not native speaker.
No, he should not be up here on jury duty. Who thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again?
So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying. They said before,
We never done nothing. The truth is, they shot detective. Da. This is double negative. Yes. Yes, that's exactly right. Oh no, not the mouse! I don't like the way the mouse looks when it's... Nope, we're... not a fan of this. Not a fan of how this looks. Lying is... No, guilty. Lying is wrong. Especially when lie is said by a person who looks like criminal. Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means... When they said, we never took nothing, maybe it was also a big fat lie. Is this true? Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough. I trust no one now. It's not the mouse's fault, though, sir. I must see with my own eyes. I must investigate a crime scene. Myself. I cannot do the W. I'm afraid that won't be possible. Yes, it is, Reno. Easily. Sorry? With the print had his red-handed recorder. If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll see straight away if anything was taken or not. Cooey, Mr. Prosecutor. Dot. Mia, robot, hold on, look, see. At different speeds? No, that's a mood. That's a big ADHD mood. Yes. Simple little robot. Some people think cyborg, just because of the head things, but no. Nope. It's calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. Thank you. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' flight. So this was taken after Hurley was shot then? As far as I can tell. Nothing's been taken. That does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. Guilty. So, the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. And now I want to... Oh, that's not evidence. Okay. They shot the man, but they stole nothing. That's a good question. Here's a good question. Why did they fire a shot if they didn't do anything? They can easily just say, "Hey, we heard the gunshot, and we came to, make sure everything was all right," which is technically true, assuming if what they say is correct. It would seem so, yes. Good. No, not good. You were right. I did not understand the situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue the trial. Oh. Thank you, Mr. Revolutionary. Not assassin. I'm sorry for calling you an assassin earlier. Yeah, well done, Reno. The balance has shifted. Well, it's a start, I suppose. But there must be more in what these jurors are saying that I can use to expose the truth. And if I can do that, we might just have the situation we just might turn the situation to our favor still.
Thank you, counsel. Continue with the summation examination. And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence.
The post-shooting chronograph has been entered into the court record. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. Not yet, because they're... In lake of lies are many dead fish. We must find truth. Therefore, I say not guilty verdict. Alright, let me see this. Dog. Pet the dog. Hold on. That's interesting. It's shifted. Okay, let's see here. Alright, look, look, look. Okay, the oil lamp is broken now. The oil lamp is broken. And it looks like it's shifted ever so slightly, that stuff in the back, but that doesn't make sense. Maybe it didn't. God, I wish I could go between them faster or easier. All that stuff looks shifted over slightly, but nothing else is. But the oil lamp is broken. Yeah, look, it is shifted. It's not quite the same. It's moved a little bit.
Hold it!
The 25th anniversary Digivices? Ooh, that sounds cool. Let's try this.
Take that!
Because this might be slightly different. Any two suitable photographic prints? Of course I can! Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'll be delighted to. There's gonna be one more print.
Take that!
Alright, these two prints were both taken with the same camera in window banks on the night in question. Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer, do you know how stereographic images work? It's the first version of the Digivice with color sprites and mega evolutions. Ooh. Do you understand the principle? Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the positions of some objects. Then when your brain merges the two images together inside your head, it notices the shift as if it were depth. Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects in the two pictures that's really important. So what happens if you use two photographs that are exactly the same then? No, obviously that won't work at all. Not for seeing the scene three-dimensionally anyway. Well... Oh, of course! Now I see. I think the young girl has discovered the secret. Well, what I'm hoping for, wristwatch, is that it'll just come up with, we'll see new clues that we couldn't see individually when it's all put together in 3 dimensions. I have! Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me? Have another look at these 2 pictures from Holly's camera, Runo. Go on. Well, Jesus Christ, Punisher. Can you see that there's a really obvious difference between them? You can't tell that there's a really obvious difference, other than the oil lamp is broken. Of course there is. There are 2 people in the first and no people in the second. Well, yes, you can see that straight away. But now, try looking at this picture in 3 dimensions. Alright, I'll give it a go. I'm not trying because I know I'll just hurt my eyes. So to start with, you have to cross your eyes, and try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. I said that I wouldn't try, but I'm trying. I can see it beginning to try and do something, but then it just doesn't complete. Can you do it for me? Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pins from each picture overlap in the middle. Wait. Well, did you manage to see it properly, Reno? No? I'm just not very good at this, that's the trouble. Oh, don't worry. Oh, it's just the thing. I'm gonna bring with me a portable stereoscope. I know I mentioned this yesterday, but if you had that contraption with you from the outset, you could have saved me staring at Mr. Windowmaker and Gina like I hate them all the time. And if you remember, I said in reply, it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Anyway, why don't we try using this helpful little aid now? Here goes. Okay, so I was right. They are slightly offset. But now let's see what we've got. Oh wait, look at that. What's going on with these two pictures? Some of the things on the counter sort of jump out at you. Thank you, Von Zykes, for using the contraption and not crossing your eyes. That would have been hilarious, though. Yes, that's it, you see? Plus the other amazing power of stereoscopes. The other amazing power? Yeah, see, the problem is they're all looking at them with a slight... Something was stolen. See, now I missed it because I'm stupid. They were moved, I know that, or the camera was. Hold on. But anyway, so my problem, the reason why I can't do it myself, I think, is because it keeps putting the two images right next to each other instead of giving a little bit of a gap.
Is someone going to explain this black magic, eh? Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, eh?
Because those are... So the camera was shit. The camera was moved. I think you find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope? As I said before, if you try to look at two identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's the slight shift in the position of certain objects that lets you see the pictures three-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved at all between the two pictures, this shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions. Yes, there must have been. Because everything else is the same then, so the camera didn't move, but all that did get pushed so perfectly?
Now hold fire there, sir. Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eye business now, I must say. But why the devil does this shift between the two prints exist in the first place? Well, that's the answer, fellow. Come on, you're the cross-eye master.
What? Me? I don't know. It's weird. I haven't the first idea. You know, Bruno, that's quite simple. It is? Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 a.m. Then, 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means... well, that they were moved, obviously. That means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter.
Zukas!
Someone tampered? New information. Stop. Not mentioned in testimony so far. Stop. Yes. We've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems. I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in this summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom?
I suggest you might know.
Of course. I can tell you right now who's responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. I just realized their faces are also... Ringo looks like an apple. Nash looks like a pear. I need to look this up. But that's a stupid name because I know Ringo means apple. Japanese for pear. Fucking called it. Fucking called it. It's nashi. Apple is Ringo, pear is nashi. What the fuck their brother's gonna be called? I don't know. We'll figure that out later. Does remind me of other food-named people. Hello, hello, Maya. Welcome, welcome. Actually, this guy, he's also named after food. Or fake name after food, but still. Oh, he's the older brother? Alright. Anyways. Who shifted the items on the counter? This motherfucker? You?
Take that!
Is this right? Quite clearly, it was the work. Okay, nope.
I'm afraid you've digressed there, Consul.
Oh.
It should not be clear even to you who is responsible for the impeachable shift in the direction of this trial toward the absurd.
Let me guess. Me?
Shift aside, my Nipponi's friend, and let the real lawyers do the talking.
Okay, you know, that's fair. I really felt that one. If you think about it, it has to have been someone who was in Windibanks with everything going on, doesn't it? When everything was going on, doesn't it? Yes, that's true. So, that narrows it down quite a lot, I think. I'll have another think. We know somebody must have touched the things on Mr. Windibank's counter. Well, so it was either Gina or one of the brothers. I don't know why Gina would have done it. So, Nash?
Take that!
It was the witness currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers.
Wait, this does not agree with what brother said in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy lockets. My phrase book says dukes as meaning hands, and Lucy lockets as meaning pockets.
Stop squeezing the mouse like that. I don't like how it looks.
But is this another lie? Is this what you are saying?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Hold on there a minute. You can't be sure of that.
I quite agree. The accused is a common pickpocket after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely.
And why exactly?
As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun. Once again, that's not pointing the gun at the victim, that's pointing up the ceiling. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windibank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Mrs. Strahd's interest lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop. Yes, the mouse friend is unfortunately real and alive, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have admitted key facts in their testimony. But the accused is a perk purse, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here? Because the Skulkin brothers are thieves, madam. No better, or in fact worse than a pick purse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves?
Well said. I for one would like to hear more from that shady pair.
Did he do that the first time? Can you all see now? Did he use his head the first time? When he voted for guilty? I think you'll find stereoscopes on playthings. You'll see the extraordinary potential firsthand. But how did you get such a perfect shift like that? Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. Return home via Regent Street. Stop. Stop. Guilty. I think she had a much higher voice before. She was a little bit more shrill, but whatever. We did it. Summation examination complete.
Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclination via the mighty scales of justice.
Imagine if this was even remotely how real trials worked and there was actually like the scales of justice behind the jury.
I hereby call the summation examination.
But the problem is, like, there's actually a very good reason why the jury is, you know, ushered into another room to do their, what's the word called? What's the fucking word? They're deliberating. They do the deliberating behind closed doors. Specifically so you don't be like, well, I got off free, but those jurors voted for me guilty, and those jurors voted for me innocent. So the innocent ones, they're fine. The ones who voted guilty, though, they're gonna die. Anyways, now.
2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. And I order this trial to continue.
Heh, well done. Oh, by the way, what? You should hold on to this, Reno. You never know when it might come in useful. Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely. But alright. I, knock on wood, have not yet been called for any sort of jury duty. God, I hope it doesn't happen anytime soon. The forms of vice that allows anyone to blah blah blah, we already know what it is.
Lord Van Sykes, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them.
I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. I've won myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Not shivering. Oh god. I need to know who what their brother is called. 'Cause I'm sure it's gonna be another fruit pun. The Kudamono brothers. Not the Sculpin brothers, the Kudamono brothers. Apples. Ringo daisuki desu. Look, probing's always good at, alright?
Orders, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand.
They sure look guilty as hell.
I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination.
Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov, I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Cool, blimey. This is going to be hard work. Earlier in this trial... Oh, no, no, look, his pocket is definitely like a miniature heater. I'm 100% sure of it. There's a freaking Mary Poppins bag up in here. There's just all sort of fish and chips just left in a heater. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windibanks. It was bedlam soon, wasn't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull my dukes out and loose the lockets. However, that was a lie. You brothers... Cool, blimey. On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter. We never done nothing of the sort. How did you figure that out? Idiot.
You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth.
Technically, we've kind of already proven their perjury. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. perjury. Yep. Love it. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. It's a good thing you're a vampire without blood pumping through your veins, because otherwise all those cuts on your hand that you get from doing that would just be constantly bleeding. Did you see his little jowls just jiggle? A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Hello, Morgan. Yeah. We're Blab. We're Squeal. We're Peach. Is Peach the name of your last brother? The whole truth. Alright. We did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing. It was when we had the gunshots, see? Men's both jumping, all that stuff went flying. Louie, didn't have give me a fry. Didn't have give me a fry. We was thinking that she'd come out the door and get us next. We took everything back where we found it and scampered. Straight into him in the black. Straight into him in the black. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we? Why would you... Okay. Two things. Two very important notes. Ichi. What? If you thought that the gunner was going to come for you, why on earth would you sit there and take the time to straighten up the stuff that you knocked over instead of just leaving it be? Me. How did you remember it so perfectly, minus the slightest shift of positioning?
To the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windibank's countertop on the night in question.
Not ransacking the governor, no. That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tied it up, yeah. Sorry.
By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess.
Okay. Nothing about that since makes that, because I just remembered, son. 3. That's 3. Also, we know for a fact that it wasn't hear the gunshot and run. It was, pause check. It was hear the gunshot, straighten up their mess for some reason, shoot Mr. Sholmes, and then run. Oh, you said? Well, they sound like gross at all. We don't, Nash, we don't. Got to make us sound a bit more cutthroat. It can't just be a coincidence these men showed up at Windibank's that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it.
Cross-examination. Illegal entry. The whole truth.
Well, I've got a couple people here. I'm trying to... Actually, I was going to ask. I'm trying to figure out what game I should play next. Where's my list? I know I have a list up somewhere. I'm thinking possibly Final Fantasy VII, like the OG, because I never played it. Alright, did knock a few things over. We weren't rifling for nothing. Well, when we had the gunshots, see, men both jumping, all that stuff went flying. Oh, it didn't get out for always thinking that she'd have come out the door and get us next. So I ran back my found it and scampered straight to him in the black. That does explain the broken oil lamp, though. I'm just gonna press him for a bit.
Hold it!
I should have that list up earlier. Oops. If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we? We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted to something like that, people would think we was up to no good. I said, ring on me, old China. We don't land ourselves in even more trouble. Here we go. Yeah, here you go. Okay, yeah. A couple of games I'm looking at playing next because we finished Elden Ring yesterday. I've got like Final Fantasy VII, Control, Persona 4 Golden, Octopath Traveler, and I've recently got Digimon Cyber Sleuth. Like, Hacker. Was it? Yeah, Cyber Sleuth. Might do that. So I've got options. So. And in fact, now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Led yourselves in even more trouble. Yeah, well, that's rotten luck. Says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing. Right, Nash, right. Well, look, we tidied the place up. Ooh, he has a death glare to end 1,000 men. Sorry. That was when we had the gunshots and everything went flying. So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshots shocked you so much, you knocked all those things off the counter? Well, shocks one of us that much, yeah? This bag of nerves need to learn to keep a shirt on. Look, it was loud, alright? Blimey, my dead granny would have woken up with that bang. Big brother there screamed like a blooming baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot. I got tangled in some marionette. One knocked over a picture frame, one knocked them scales on the floor. Really mashed working quietly then. What a racket. My granny would have been scared back into the grave at a clatter like that. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, BAM!
Excuse me.
What's up? Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels. What? No, something to add about their testimony. You seemed to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's probably nothing, of course. Wouldn't even bother to mention it, only... fact is, kids don't get solved to ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, they brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night. The statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have, Gov, might have. Does ring a bell now you mention it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. Can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, fellas. If I discover the witness' testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Easy, easy. I'll get it right this time. That's it, yep. It's all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs. I try, Gov. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun."
Hold it!
So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously? That can't be right, because he died immediately. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we had a kind of wavering voice between the yelling and all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Bam! Kind of thing. Career in acting tragically missed. For shame. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell? Of course we could. On the other side of that door behind the counter it was. Alright, one moment. Sending a message real fast. There we go. Alright, sorry about that. We're back. Of course we could. Outside that door behind the counter it was. From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. In the voice you heard, was that of the victim, Mr. Winterbank? On my granny's life. Of course it was. On his granny's life. Well, no. It was granny's life. Of course it was. So, that would mean that you both knew Mr. Winterbank and the sound of his voice? So that would mean... What? What, Nash? What? Any ideas?
Yes, Consul, indeed it would.
They were acquainted. No. We didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to know when the bloke in all the fancy clover's giving us the evil eye?
If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true.
At this point, they told so many lies. Like, just throw the whole testimony out. It's completely worthless. On me granny's life, it is.
Oh, on his granny's life, it must be.
On his granny's life. It's a good job his granny's dead.
To summarize then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor.
You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget we tied it up after like good little boys. Anyway, well, I see it. Bloke who all the place was on the gun. So they just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Hold on, wait, say what? You're saying that Mr. Winterbank had a gun in his hands? Oh yeah, but that was a sign, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other. Must have got pretty heated. And before I shouted out, we heard the geezer say, if you don't want to get shot. Didn't really sound like he meant it, mind. More of an empty threat, you could say.
Mr. Winterbank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required.
Well, if that someone was his own, then yes.
That someone being himself, of course. There it is.
Good grief! Extraordinary devotion to read, if alarmingly misguided. Yeah, certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only person who's gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooked his grease proper. Bet he wished he squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun!" And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot? It was more or less at the same time, Gov. Give me that gun! Bam! Kind of thing. Yes, a career in acting very tragically missed. Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Before everything went dead quiet. After that, we done a slapdash job tying the place up. Limited. Just thinking that she's at the door. So, you didn't try to open the storeroom door then? Not on your life. I went deathly quiet after that, I did. Put the wind right up me. But anyway, the door was locked, wasn't it? No way that was opening. Yes, of course. It was locked from the inside, or so we've been led to believe. It was, Gov, it was. From the inside. Right? So we didn't know what was going on in there, did we? Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole, or the spy hole, perhaps. Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights. I'm at a loss with these two. They had to cut and run before I noticed anything like that. There's no cutting our teeth in this game, see? But one day, we'll really cut the mustard. Ah, we're back. Please, cut it out.
But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body, with the accused not 2 feet away.
Yes, unfortunately. Again, we just keep ignoring the fact that she's unconscious. Gina was in there, unconscious, with a gun in her hand.
To confirm, would it be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom?
That's right, Gov, that's right. Good enough, even if we wanted to. Stuck everything back we found and scummed straight into them. Yes, swear upon you fire a shot from your own gun, and Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Oh, yeah. Was a bit hasty there. We was, Nash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up. If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hands. Good advice, miss, good advice. Good advice. Truth be told, my mind went totally blank. Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hands. Mental note made, miss. After that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we looked dodgy to the coppers this summer. So I cuffed the darbies on us like winking. And after you've been handcuffed, the police found the revolver in your possession, correct? Well, yeah. But listen, I prison done, eh? We couldn't have shot the pawnbrokers, eh? Never know a chance, did we?
Hold it!
And why should we believe that? What? Cause it's true, isn't it? Place was totally empty when we went in. At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbrokery, Mr. Underbank. Correct? You got it, mister. Down to it, eh? So the Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windibank? Is that really true, I wonder? That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony? What is it, Reno? You look very fierce. I can pour you some over tea if you're tired. Oh, well, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh. But I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something. Something important. It's something more than a feeling, though. I have no proof to support it. Well, feelings can be very logical at times. Sorry? People's expressions, the movements of their eyes, the words they choose. You can take all that in and your brain will quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you described. You can conclude that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts. Iris, thank you. Sometimes I think if she's 10 years old, I must be 5. Alright. The shit is fired at. I suppose this is technically true, that this right here proves that that statement's wrong. Oh, whoops. Did not mean to move on and do that again. Alright, fine, I'll trust my instincts. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun."
Objection!
Oh, the music stopped, so I think we did good. So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windibank, was wielding a gun, is that correct? Let's think of, you got the picture. Yes, Nash, yes, no question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windibank was not holding a firearm of any description. So what I think happened is that whoever he was actually talking to that wasn't Lestrade shot him, in other words, which, by the way, it was 100% this douchebag. I'm calling it now. Real murder, right there. Mr. Windibank was actually talking to him. He shot Windibank, and then took Windibank's gun and gave it to Lestrade, who he had already knocked out, so that it looks like she killed him with his own gun. You what? God and Benny, that ain't right.
Objection!
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Winterbank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hands. Yeah, that Mortilla is the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun. Bam! Like that. Kind of thing.
Hold it!
Stay exactly where you are. Right there. Eh? If the crime had taken place as you so colorfully described in your testimony... No, he's got a... Wait, no, I'm stupid. He's got a good point. I didn't think about that. They keep describing it as like this whole thing of, give me that gun, shot from the front. But Winterbank was shot in the back. With an up angle, which means it went from down below his back up through his heart. Like that, it would have gone up through his heart, through his back, to where the backside would have been higher, but that's not what happened. Wait, so what the hell happened that night? It would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out.
Goodness, are you sure, Counsel?
I'm annoyed that it took me this long to figure that out. Normally You intrigue me, my learned friend. But let's see some evidence to support their claim. It was the autopsy. Nope, not that one. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Bullet wounds to the heart, body from the back on a gently... Yeah, okay. Evidence is in the autopsy report. What is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments?
Take that!
According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot.
Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe.
I think the other option that happened is that Lestrade was still holding on to Winterbank's gun, and someone else shot him from behind. And he was telling Lestrade, "Give me that gun," so that he could use it on the attacker. But he was shot before he had a chance. But it's also true that there's a bullet missing from the chamber, which means there is potentially another gunshot that we don't know about. That's right, there's still blood. Wait, that's right, we still don't actually know this one. I chalked this up to this being Herlock's blood. The problem is, wristwatch, this is long before forensics. It's too early in time. That doesn't... Unfortunately, that's not a thing that they'll know, that they know how to match, I don't think. They wouldn't be able to match the rifling. The technology is just not there yet. Yes, that's right. Now, if that's otherwise, I would say yes, let's do that, but... It's true. It would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. What is the God's honest truth? It is, Nash, it is. When he was shot that night, the shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Thank you, dumbasses, for giving me some additional information. I love it when they're idiots. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Winterbank holding a gun?
Something like that might have slipped out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question they actually saw, with their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun. which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash? Uh-oh. They in trouble now.
Order, order, order. Order! Witnesses, explain yourselves at once.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't supposed to, It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I'm gonna match his energy at the moment. Sorry, wrong energy. There it is. There's the right energy. Here, let's get into real serious mode here. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you.
Am I to understand that you replaced the untruth of your original testimony with renewed lies?
Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, see, we, cut it out, Nash, cut it out. If we blab now, you know what he'll do to us. He? Who are they talking about? Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Bro, come on. The game's up. But he'll have a gut for garters. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. Even if you have to do it accidentally.
On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again.
Oh, wait, is that right? No, it's not. Forgetting my buttons.
I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which the meeting took place.
Well, do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Oh my god, these fools. Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun, he bellowed. And it flew at us like it was possessed. I'll go at it. For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled my gun on him, and then legged it through that door into the back room. Geezer? What geezer? We killed it's dead. Okay. We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all happened, I swear. So you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop? Well, yeah. Sorry.
Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably.
But honest, Governor, this time, Nash, this time, we got nothing more to hide.
Very well. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord. That's it. The moment I've been waiting for.
Cross-examination.
Encounter with the victim. Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and he just started relief from the geezer shared his mug. Okay.
Hold it!
When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Winterbank? Who else? Sorry, I mean, that's right. Well, it's keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gaff, obviously. Well, I never thought no one was going to come out of the back room like that. The back room being the pawnbrokery storeroom. Yeah, that must be where it popped up from. Only place it could have been. So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. Which means Jenny must have been there at that point as well. But that doesn't make sense, does it? If Gina threatened Mr. Winterbank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? Oh, I don't know. Did you see the accused at that time? What? That Mortal, Tula? Couldn't tell ya. No way, Cobra. I got bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it. That gunny bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it. Who is he talking to? You mentioned that Mr. Winterbank shouted... Sorry, that time I did hit my mic. Or at least the cable for it. You mentioned that Mr. Winterbank shouted these words in your previous testimony, too. However, you claim that you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah. Was the victim Mr. Winterbank wielding a gun at the time? Was he ever? Blimey Loomy! Great ugly belly, I pointed straight at me frontispiece. Where's my frontispiece? Frontispiece? The fuck? Words are weird. Has anyone ever noticed that? Words are weird. So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Winterbank with the gun at that time, is that right? It is, Gav, it is. Spot on. And all of a sudden it came at us, it did. It was Bedlam. I didn't know it was going for who. You were clearly all going for each other. Like Nash said, we thought we'd had it. I mean... For an old geezer, a bloke as strong as an ox. Checked me over the counter. Yes, I noted that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony, too. Well, yeah, of course we did. It knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot. I got tangled on some marionette, what knocked over a picture frame, what knocked them scales on the floor. So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter. Big brother here went flying over the counter like a gunshot, I can tell you. And the old geezer pinned him. It did, Nash, it did. If you hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a bloomin' pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via the secret... There is a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right. When the brothers fled... Take 3, whatever. I was gonna say take 2, but there was already a take 2 in that mess. When the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street, they ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they? Poor Mr. Winterbank. He did everything he could to protect his shop. It is? That is annoying. Moment. Yeah, I mean, I've looked at everything. Everything is put in properly. No loose cables. Nothing else should be weird. Actually, you know what I realized I could probably do? See if that helps. Alright. Turn on some monitoring. We'll see if I can at least tell when it happens next. Either do that.
Hold it!
Were you intending to shoot, Mr. Winterbank? No, never. I was just, you know. Looking out for me, bruv, wasn't I? It was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes. And then, the man fled into the storeroom when he pointed his gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away, then ran off through that door and shot himself in. There's something about that last remark. Something that doesn't quite ring true. I wonder why Mr. Winterbank ran away into the storeroom. What? Well, according to what everyone's saying... Yeah, that's... I don't know. So, it's weird, right? He had a gun in his hand. He said, give me that gun. But how would he have even known if the Skulkin brothers had a gun? Like, that part doesn't make sense. He wouldn't have known that. According to what everyone's been saying. So who was he shouting at? Gina was in there waiting for him, with a gun. Yes, that's right. Maybe... I don't know. There's still too many unknowns for me to solve this case. Gina allegedly used Mr. Winterbank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. But if he already had the gun... Or no, but he popped out wielding a gun, presumably his gun, which means she didn't have it anymore. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Winterbank's hand again? Because she didn't have it with an intent to use it. We don't know the circumstances of why she had the gun. I have no idea. That is strange, isn't it? This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. Look, point is, me and my bruv here. That's right, Nash, that's right. Me and my bruv here. We never had nothing to do with killing them. That's all what happened, I swear. That's all what happened, I swear. You say you had nothing to do with it? Nothing at all. Nothing, Gav, nothing. Old geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was, from the inside. We know it was, because we tried to open it. Well, it's a decent door, that one. Getting strong. I just went very Scottish by accident. What a budge an inch. So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Shit. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim, the accused Miss Gina Lestrade.
It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, Counsel?
I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could possibly have shot Mr. Winterbank? I mean, there could have been. Whoever this mysterious he is. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Eh? What? What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night. I'm thinking so too. The course of this trial changed completely. I think she's out of it as well. It did. It did. What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Winterbank? And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. Of course it is, because that's your job, but still. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this planet premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what are the possible answers to the question of who shot the man could there be?
Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect of two conundrums.
Two, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe?
Indeed. Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time?
I just thought of something. So looking at this floor plan, he was here. This is where the corpse was. Here's a question. Behind him is, especially if the door was closed and locked, there is no space behind him for him to have gotten shot. Like, because he fell face forward. His back would have been up against the wall. Or at the very least, up against the door. But if the door was closing... Exactly, that's true. If he was shot from someone who was standing here, either through the door, that's true, especially if the brother was on the ground, because we know he was shot upwards, but it says gently sloping, so they weren't that much shorter than him, but I have to imagine, so, like, there is a window in the door, but I think that would be too high for this. So, but maybe as the door was closing, a shot went through, but it's one of those doors that, you know, you can lock it and still open the door and it'll still be locked. And it'll just close locked. I don't know. In the struggle, dropped the gun, fled the room, got shot. Oh, maybe. The only question is, there's one other person there. There has to have been another person there. Because they keep mentioning a he. Someone who told them not to talk. Which, of course, I'm pretty sure was our Mr. Egbert Benedict. Because someone also had to have put the gun in Miss Lestrade's hands. We'll just have to see. Are you alright, Reno? I'm not entirely sure. But there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospect hugely. Hugely. Bigly. So now, time for some clarity and some water. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun. Shit. Unless... Fuck. I suppose it's also possible that Gina had the gun the whole time. No one planted it in her hand. It was just the empty gun was in her hand. Someone else shot her. From here, maybe?
Take that!
The defense believes the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. I have a feeling this didn't work out for me. And then answer to the second question. Assuming the culprit fired from the location incident, where was the victim at the time?
Take that!
Right here? I probably could have put that closer to the door. The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windibank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired?
So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom?
Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled my gun on him, and then I legged it through that door into the back room. And Mr. Windibank ran away through the door. We have to assume that the door was open at the time.
Ugh!
It was at precisely that moment, when the victim was fleeing for his life, that the brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Ugh. Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? Moving on to the findings of Scotland Coroner, it is reported that the body on a rising diagonal trajectory, blah blah blah. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Excuse me, Mr. Ringo. Poor man. Sure, he was running as fast as he could to safety. Of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body on an upward trajectory. That's something I actually legitimately had not considered. Because, yeah, if he was running away and leaning forward, that's a good point I had not considered. It wouldn't straighten out. Oh, that's clever. So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windibank.
Objection!
You have a problem, Mr. Vampire. I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten. that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? But, what if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Mr. Gina, she could have locked it.
Very well then, Counsel.
Yes, there's an idea. Windibank is shot, right? He collapses. Gina's like, oh shit! Closes the door, locks it to protect herself, and either feints or even picks up Windibank's gun for safety, for defense. And for whatever reason, she passes out or faints or gets knocked out there in that room. Like, 'cause she's terrified at this point.
Present your hypothesis. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. In which case, who shot and locked the storeroom door from the inside?
Isn't it obvious?
Take that!
The only other person inside. Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room. For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around the neck.
I'm inclined to agree, I must say. Well, Counsel?
Yes, that's a tricky one, that, isn't it?
Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, Counsel. Remember that, please.
But of course Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it? Iris, thank you for being the only smart person in the entire goddamn city. It does? Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know how I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Oh, yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windibank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windibank must have heard the intruders breaking into a shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windibank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment? I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windibank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it. In order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't, God, we ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on. We never shoot no one. That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windibank's murder. And given Mr. Windibank's position on the floor, I'm gonna say that's like... But there's still the mysterious he that we haven't really talked about yet. There's no way it was that easy. Something's wrong.
Where does this leave us?
You mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all?
I surely knew it was those three brothers.
You look as shady as it is for... 3? Hold on! That was amazing, Reno! All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now. I know. First time ever. And probably the last. Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have to give a verdict of not An admirable effort, my learned friend. Yeah, the poor Gregson. What's this now? He's laughing?
You find the situation amusing, Lord Von Zykes. I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive. Most persuasive.
I dare say. Such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial Eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery here. But what? I just said those words. I have no idea what words came out of my mouth. Basically, he's going to accuse us as not having evidence. What? The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your own logic failing? Of your logic's failing?
I say, Lord Von Zykes, what might be an idea to explain this bullet conjuring tricks or whatever it is to the troops on the ground, eh?
The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Motive. Shit. Right? Nope. Dag, you're right. Fuck. Bullets. Damn it. Which is why I still say, it wasn't those two who shot him, but it also wasn't Mr. Strahd. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. I got very heavy from TF2 there.
By George, count bullets?
Oh dear. You noticed then. Huh? What's everyone talking about?
Consul.
Yes, sir? Yes, sir? That'll be court. How many bullets were found at the scene of the crime? Two. 2 bullets. Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, on his arrival at the scene.
Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings.
There's a third gun in play.
The bullet which entered Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar.
Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windebeck, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Shit.
Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each.
Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Sherlock Holmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think I'm fine.
Oh, so the single bullet was fired from the brother's gun hit Mr. Sholmes, it means.
Windebeck not shot by the same gun. Stop. Only 1 bullet. Stop. Stop. Ah, hold on. Now I can actually hear my own voice. Makes things more difficult.
Guilty. Bring back Russian man. We wish to hear him speak.
Exactly. Yes, this Deepony street performer presented an ostensibly critical argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. These people on their dramatic flailing.
Order! Order! Order!
Oh, the fact that it's... Oh, he just killed another person on this, like, audience? Sure, audience. Pray forgive the discourtesy of bringing the dregs of this horrid nectar into the public gallery, that's the word. Yeah, see, that's the problem. That's the only thing about this gun. is that there's no bullet in it, but we don't necessarily have evidence of the gunpowder, I guess. Nope, nope. There are signs of it being fired. Yep, nope. But the bigger thing is we have no idea when it was fired. It could have been fired at any point before before the Skulkins showed up, and just no one would have known, and no one would have been around to hear it. That's accidental discharge. I'm just gonna leave that alone.
Lord Van Sykes. But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can regrettably no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past railway criminal conduct. Ah, shit.
You don't know that. Please don't bring up the thing you're gonna bring up. Don't bring up the Miguel case, please.
The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with lawsuit intent. As we can see beyond doubt in this print was the picture threatening the victim with the murder weapon.
Okay, see, bad trigger discipline. If we were to go back to that pawnbrokery and look at the ceiling, I bet we'd find ourselves a bullet. Crap.
And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present.
That disc. It's the music disc.
I'll be checking out whatever it is, Miguel. It's down to the art, thank you very much.
No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is, mine. Mine.
I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to Miguel, it has to be taken in as evidence now.
Yes, that music box disc. McGilded's music box disc. Fucking music box disc. Music box disc. I hate this series of words. It's a music box disc.
Mine. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windibank, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with not any certainty of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence.
Okay, you don't know any of the... Motherfucker.
Good gracious!
It does belong to her, fuck you.
Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed. No crime she would not commit.
Wait. Motherfucker, I'm asking you a question. Please, for the love of God, please, for the love of God, enter that disc into evidence so I can test that blood.
The court forgets that fact that it's pale. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel, as a grim testament to the defendant's character. Lord Van Sykes,
Inspector Gregson? What?
Yes, Inspector.
Okay, wait. I heard it. That was weird. It did do something weird for a second. That was strange. But then it went away. All that matters is that it stopped? Weird. I don't know what that was. At least that's how I know that you're not crazy. But it just pops for a second, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I legitimately touched nothing. Nothing got touched. And I mean, at least it doesn't last long. We'll take that, at least.
Well, admitting yesterday they are with the prosecution service, and I think it was agreed that the disc. I think it was agreed that that disc wouldn't be used as evidence.
God, I hope not, because all the other ports weren't working either. Or all the other ports were doing weird too. I'll have to find out. What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strange? Wait. Put it into evidence, please. I want to test it for my blood portfolio. That's the first time he said anything to Van Zykes at all. I am unaware of any such meeting.
But those were the instructions. Are from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent.
Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord.
Indeed. Bailiff?
Music box, exit. The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of character. Hold on. If you don't mind. Oh, Erlo, look! This is blood! Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before. It's my time to shine again. I thought I'd been waiting forever. Alright, hold still with that disc, Reno. Can we get this done quickly, Iris? In a flash. What color does it turn? Wait, what? Ooh, a lovely bright shade again. Wait, the color. That doesn't even make any sense. What is it? It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? The blood samples portfolio has been updated in the court record. What the hell? We already know all this, right? Well, McGill did. That's the man you defended in court a couple months ago, isn't it, Bruno? Yes, rather mistakenly defended. I wonder what his name is doing on the back of this disc. That's a question I'd love to know the answer to myself. Alright, hold on. That's interesting. Okay, so I thought for sure that this was Sholmes' blood. Because after all, like, he was the one who got shot near there. Like, isn't that the bullet hole from him getting shot? But we know that this blood specifically came from him, which puts him at the scene of the crime. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. Don't rest your case yet. It's not technically the end of the trial. We're still in the middle of it. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once. For all of 5 minutes. Oh dear. It wasn't even for 5 minutes, Reno.
My lord, I wonder if I might say something at this point.
Yep, here we go. Here we go again.
Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of a fog up to now, if truth be told. Well, all of a sudden, as it's bloody obvious to me, my men, there's only one thing for it. Oh no. Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
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 Guilty. There it is. Guilty. Guilty. Yeah, she was more up here. Oh, nope, he did use his head. Let's use the old needle. How is this place not burned to the ground?
We have a consensus among the jury, it seems.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. That's a Herlock Sholmes quote, and you better be keeping that shit out of your mouth. That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. How dare he use it against us? Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's so more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. That's beyond any doubt.
Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready?
Get it, Squadron. It's probably ready for action, sir.
Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty.
Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions.
Once a real guy is a real guy, son. Different breed to us law-abiding citizens.
As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. Okay, that's actually a reasonable answer. Fuck. You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. See the truth here? Every which way you look at it, it was that pickpocket.
I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief.
The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead.
I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns.
Ballistics expert, thanks.
It would seem there's little remaining room for doubt.
I have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chopping block. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd jolly well have been hoodwinked. Well, no more.
Ugh, whole courtroom is turning against me. It's not fair, Iris. That prosecutor's being mean. Just because Ginny's done something she shouldn't have done in the past, that doesn't make her a murderer.
Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out, eventually.
You want the truth? I'll give you the goddamn truth.
That's enough preamble. Counsel, proceed with the summation examination.
Yes, my lord. Jury examination. Let's kick some ass. Metaphorically. Alright. Just because Mrs. Lestrade has a history of pickpocketing, Just because Mrs. Lestrade has a history of pickpocketing, she must be guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Are all members of the British Army so quick to judge?
I beg your pardon? Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the greatest military organization in the world?
No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous.
Well, yes, might have a point there, I suppose. But let's not forget the girl had already shown she had it in her from before. She's clearly a criminal sort through and through, you can't deny it.
When you say that she showed she had it in her, are you referring to this?
Exactly. Tried to swap that only day earlier, or am I mistaken?
You are mistaken. Not entirely mistaken, but mostly mistaken. Even though I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute. It's very easy to refute that. She had it. It was hers. I've never actually seen the real thing. Can't wait to have a closer look at it. We've already done that. Oh, yes, of course. Mr. Sholmes did use his caramel bars to make a copy of the disc, didn't he? And then ordered every type of music box he could find from across Europe. We still don't know what tune it plays, though, do we? Someone tells me it's not a tune, but some sort of secret information. But I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy. The gilded disc. Could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps you should examine it in more detail. Already done. Moving on. Is the number of bullets that has you convinced? Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlor maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. Well, that's logical, I suppose. Although, yes, sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. One of the 2 guests rather like the fine china. One of the guns, there's a missing gun somewhere. Does your employer dine with thieves? So I suppose, if there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position. A 3rd bullet somewhere on the scene? Could that be possible? Can I prove it? That's the bigger question. Unfortunately, I don't think I can. Not yet, anyways. I have a feeling it's coming to that. You have to pop your 2 prints in here to start with, you see? And then when you look through the eyepieces, you can see the image in 3 dimensions. The important thing to get right is the position of the 2 prints. I don't know who came up with the idea of a stereoscope, but it's really quite fascinating. Oh, look at that! It's totally changed shape just from one little button press. Well, that is what the button's for, Runo. You're just like Curly. You boys love pressing buttons, don't you? Especially if you don't know what they do. Us boys. This is the 10-year-old girl. Anyway, now you can see that really is a stereoscope, can't you? I was partially hoping to find something over here. This provided no help whatsoever. Yeah, I can't prove it right now. Unfortunately, only 2 bullets were discovered by the police during their investigation. Which means they probably checked the ceiling as well. Yes, I know. Right. And I don't imagine the Goodman of Scotland Yard would have overlooked anything. If I Mr. Bullywell's cleaning his lordship's office, well, I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt. And he should receive a visit from police, perhaps. Sounds like a crime scene to me. A 3rd bullet. It would completely turn things around if there was one, wouldn't it? Do you think we might find one lying around somewhere? A 3rd bullet. This? Is that not the bullet that... Wait. Took the bullet with him! Herlock! It didn't go clean through, it's in his abdomen! This isn't his bullet! This isn't the bullet that hit Herlock. Hold on. Fuck you. You. That's right! It's an operation. It wasn't just to steal up the bullet wound. It was to take the bullet out. There is a missing bullet. Herlock's got it. Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here.
The thing is, I couldn't really say that it has nothing to do with this trial, to be honest.
Huh?
I mean, there's no question that the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think?
I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on...
What was the fellow's name now? Herlock. Oh, Hairlock.
Sherlock Sholmes, by any chance?
Yes, good lord. It was that Herlock fellow.
What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Sholmes. God, his name keeps messing me up.
That's right. Using the very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. It was a fairly major op, I can tell you.
This is crazy.
Let me see. The fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find the bullets anywhere. So I'm afraid I had to throw up my hands and just stitch the fellow back up.
But I hate to say the obvious, but
Yes?
surely that's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting?
The counsel for the defense is correct, as is clearly shown in this photographic print. The bullet from the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region.
But wait, no. Double doesn't make sense. Like, okay, this is a thought I've had a couple times. I really should start saying shit out loud, so it doesn't sound like I'm making it up, because I'm sure it does. If he got shot in the stomach, how did it go an extra 3 feet up? That's impossible to be Herlock's bullet, sorry, Mr. Sholmes. Because that calendar is hanging way up on, next to the door. Like, unless it was, like, shot from the ground up into his stomach really close, it would not go up that high. I think you'll find it's really quite simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally.
Huh, who do you think I am, son? Who do you think I am?
Well, chart number 4 is about the best I can do.
As soon as I saw the wound to the man's stomach, I flipped him over.
Like a pancake? Are you saying that you checked his back?
Of course I did. And there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign that the bullet had left the body at all.
What?
That's the point. Hold on. Guilty. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards. There it is. There's a better voice. Which is exactly why I set about slicing him up. And I'm still none the wiser even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery?
It's almost as much of a mystery as how this jury was put together.
The mystery of where that bullet ended up is infuriating. As an expert when you need to.
Oh, we're gonna go ahead and press these two just to see what they have to say. But then we're gonna backpedal because I'm pretty sure I can pit the maid with the surgeon. And be like, third bullet, bitch! There we go. What do you mean you're in for a busy day? Forgot to say. Stop. Do excuse me. Stop. I'm a communications officer. Stop. Guilty. A communications officer? Does that have something to do with sending telegrams? Everything from personal messages written by members of the public to the latest news in the capital. I convert all the messages into Morse code and type it out to the entire world electronically. To the entire world? Thousands of miles of cables under the sea. Stop. Worldwide communications network. Stop. Information transmitted to and from all corners of the globe. Stop. Ah, yes. She was getting equally worked up about radio waves and the like before, wasn't she? I specialize in communicating information from government departments and newspaper offices. I see. I'm sure I shall have to wire the newspaper reports of today's guilty verdict later. So no sleep for me tonight, I imagine? Let's just finish the trial first, shall we? Okay, that wasn't helpful.
Guilty. I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns.
I thought you were just a tourist.
Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
There's no way he's just a visiting tourist. So...
I have...
Why is it getting all staticky? Don't do that. Stop it. Okay. happening here. Hold on. There? Well, okay. A little bit quieter, but... Is that better? There we go. Okay. I don't know what's wrong. I have much experience with guns. Nah. I have lived through many, how do you say, extreme, violent part of blood of... extreme violent bloodbaths, perhaps? No, those extreme violent bloodbaths. English is a very difficult tongue, and I'm not wrong there. In terms of other people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue. Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There is nothing I do not know. No mystery I cannot solve. My current guess is that the bullet that's in the calendar, right? That's the bullet that came out of Mr. Windibank's gun, and it shot our dear Mr. Benedict. That's why it has his blood, anyways. He's very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure. But, if possible, please. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Guilty. Please. Only in Russian language. He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he? No. Still, we should bear it in mind. He's our man if there's a mystery about guns or bullets. Then Zykes has managed to convince everyone. When you have eliminated the impossible, he said. But he hasn't. If we're going to fight back, we need more material. We have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again. Okay. Where's an expert when you need one? Objection! We'll start here. The idea that all I do is pitch... Those two statements clearly contradict. The idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. Oh, a ballistics expert. A ballistics expert. Pitting. B-I-T-T. On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers, but since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Valid. Pleased to meet you. Pleased to meet you. There's a apparent contradiction in the facts so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen very similar situation in Motherland. It was night. There was blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. Corey! The snow was piling high on both sides of road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles and they were on dog sleds. Mental note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind and I fell down in the snow. The situation was very similar to what I had today from the doctor. They could not find bullet in my body, and no sign of, how you say, exit wound. But where did the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. What? Oh, well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down? Bullet hit very frozen wall of ice very close to my bullet hit bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side. What? One small piece, very sharp, broke away from lump of ice and pierced my body.
made deep wound that looks just like bullet. The oil lamp! The oil lamp. That's what got hit. And it exploded from the gunshot. And the glass is the shrapnel, that's what hit Herlock. Made deep wound. Good gracious! Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me, and as the solution the mystery of disappearing bullet. I did just go heavy voice form, that's fine. Guilty. I feel like I had a more texture to him earlier. Guilty. There it is, but that's a little bit harder to do when I'm doing so many voices. But that doesn't answer the question at all. A shooting happened in a pawnbroker shop. Not some snowy mountain road in another country. Just an idea. We might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here. You know, where exactly was Hurley shot again? Well, according to the report, in his stomach, sort of around this area, I think. Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt. A pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that. Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. What? Glass vial? What? Really? Doctor, where's the pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing? Well, I had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may. Lord Van Zykes? Well, I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during the summation examination. I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry? As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Oh, my goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then, it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well. While extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution presents the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Herlock Sholmes' pouch. I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it? Look at that! One of the vials is broken and the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the vial exploded. Exploded. So, that night, the bullet from Skulkin Brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch. And it was the glass vial exploding that caused the fellow's injury. And this bullet did not penetrate victim, but was deflected into wall of shop. Ah, shit. Wait, no, that still doesn't make sense. Shit, that doesn't change anything. The bullet's still there. A delightfully complex aroma. Shit. We still haven't found the 3rd bullet. Crap. I thought we were onto something there. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least. Though it has no bearing on the truth of this case. Shit. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered. But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Thank you very much. Glad I could help. Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will question the scruffy pouch's evidence. Hurley's pouch isn't scruffy. Hurley's pouch isn't scruffy. Now, the summation examination. It would appear that the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion, No.
let's see here. It went in, and exploded. Shite. It's really scorched badly just here. The strap is broken. Look! That must be where the bullet hit them. Let me see. Ha ha ha! Hell yeah! Oh! Thank God for searching the evidence when we have it. Hell yes. This file has been smashed to pieces. Presumably this is where the bullet struck. As soon as the bullet hit the chemical in our fire, it would have been a really big explosion. A big explosion? Well, Hurley's potions and chemicals are amazingly useful for the investigation work he does, but they're also quite tricky to handle. Safely, at least. Very dangerous. Oh. I'm sure when this fire broke, the kiln inside would have ignited. Note to self, always walk on the right-hand side of Sholmes in future. The left is the danger zone. What the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was. Do you see it? Ha! That's the Skulkin Brothers bullet! Oh, what a stroke of luck out of his pouch! This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windibanks that night. We found exactly what that juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet! It's time to press that juror again, I think. Hell yeah. Look at us go. This is the bullet that was fired from the Skulkin Brothers' gun on the night of the incident. Yes, so it turns out it never actually entered Hurley's body at all. Thanks to the thick letter in that pouch he was wearing. It saved him. Hurley's always lucky like that. Well, considering what he had to go through in the hospital, I wonder how lucky he really was. Oh dear. Oh, Hurley. Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. It could be a valuable clue. And you can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. There's still a way to turn this around. Somehow. I'm sure of it. Third bullet that has you convinced. Only 2 bullets were fired. Blah, we already know this part. The polymer, blah. So here's another thing. How did the prosecution not investigate this evidence? It's so obvious, it's right there. I can prove it. Allow me to show you, then, the 3rd bullet.
Take that!
Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windibank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? You're really bad at your job. Where did you find that bullet? In the thingamajig. It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before it was taken to the hospital. Wait, that's something interesting I just noticed real fast. They keep saying to hospital and not to the hospital. I don't know why. And since then, it's been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin Brothers that night? Yes. As your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. What? That makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print. Oh. 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Windibank, and that belonged to the Skulkin Brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. But that must mean... That's right. We now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Wait. I don't know, screams are always the hard part.
Order, order, order. While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination.
Wow, we actually didn't even need to get them to vote innocent.
But Jupiter!
What?
Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once.
Holy shit. This is new.
A new development. How wonderful. Witnesses.
Governor?
Were you listening to proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination?
We was, Governor, we was.
Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A third bullet had been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that?
Make of it, Gov? I don't make none of it if I can help it.
Is it one of yours?
Go blimey, Gov, go blimey. Not a chance.
In that case, did you have an accomplice?
What? What? Never. The Skulkin brothers are alone. It's just the 2 of us. That's our trademark. It's just the 2 of us.
Nope, we know that's a damn lie.
How soon we forget poor Sulky.
Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it?
Loomy. That's an head scratcher.
Counsel for the defense.
Yes.
I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet and the mysterious missing firearm from which it came.
Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture. A picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers. Does it say that they had nothing to do with them? We're just gonna go with the accomplice. On that night at Windibake's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice. But the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present. Someone carrying a gun.
Objection!
Accomplice, you say? Pigswing. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endorse 2 summation examinations. Yet in all that time, there's not been a murmur of a third man. Actually, there has. And this apparently wraith-like being exists. We have heard of him. The court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy would be crushed, like I crushed this wine glass in my hand. I am now breathing profusely. The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence that his accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. It's a good thing I have that then. And secondly, the identity of this spurious character. Oh, I have evidence for both of those. Isn't that just wonderful? The Skulkins are lying. I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding?
Well, counsel.
I'm supposed to prove the existence of the accomplice and reveal the person's identity even. In response to the prosecution's demands, my lord, the defense is ready to present answers. We always come prepared. The defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands.
So, my Nipponish friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting.
I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference.
In that case, Consul, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene?
That one right there. Is there a picture specific for that? Or...
Take that!
The evidence is right here, in this portfolio.
By Jove, a portfolio then, is it?
Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of those blood samples proves the presence of the third intruder. Well, which one is it?
Oh, no.
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar.
That's a blood stain, my lord.
A blood stain?
Green blood. Curious, even for you. It is court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature.
It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. The great detective. New invention. Stop. Not yet appeared in stories. Stop. It's this, you see? It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fungus sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood to change its color.
Different elements? People's blood?
Yes. Everyone's blood is slightly different, you see? It's made up of different elements. So I see what color it changes to. You can tell in a flash whose blood it is. That brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom. Stop. Very exciting. Stop. I've forgotten her voice already. It's... As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windibank.
A striking blue.
Yes. So you see, the green color of this blood stain on the calendar, so that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop.
Hold fire there, young man. Could be from a unrelated incident, couldn't it?
No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windibank was killed.
By golly!
Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day.
And whose blood is it?
Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else. The third intruder, in fact.
Objection!
Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder?
Take that!
Once again, legal malpractice. We don't need that information. Oh, okay, the mic cut out for a second, but we're good. But you need to prove that it wasn't my client. I don't need to prove jack shit about who it actually was. The man's name is Egbert Benedict.
Well, that's the name he's given us.
Egbert Benedict? What are you talking about, Consul?
He paid a visit to Windibank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place.
The accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into their possession.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You're not allowed to talk. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Egbert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. Broker?
Yes, sir?
I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you now.
Why, yes, sir.
The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you rascal. And needless to say, any music box discs too. Any music box discs, too. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc.
Can you corroborate this account, Inspector?
Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. On the interest of being thorough, I asked Winterbank for a print showing the fellow. Day over one of his red-handed recorded governors.
Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Winterbank that morning.
And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice?
Well, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin,
Oh, never seen the geezer before in my life.
I'm alive, Gov, I'm alive. Never seen him.
Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion.
I'm sure your lordship recalls my Nipponese friend's actual assertion.
Okay, hello.
Which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice.
Yes, and I can. Then show us the evidence. I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. Now this is important. Which piece of evidence is the one that proves it? That's the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm going to drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom.
Are you ready to present your answers to the court, then, counsel?
Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now.
The picture in this photographic print was, in fact, the person struck by the third bullet.
Take that!
That proof is right here, in this portfolio.
Good gracious, counsel. That portfolio contains the answers to every question posed.
No, just most of them.
Unless you share my interest in clerical liquid, my Nipponese friend, but... Enough. The court demands to see further evidence. Which blood sample proves the man you identified with the one shot by the third bullet at the scene of the crime.
It's quite simple, really.
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully, admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Winterbanks.
Which is when the aforementioned Egbert Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. The man then attempted to purloin the article from the defender's possession, no?
That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred.
Oh, but of course, sir. Here's the disc for you.
Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc is mine. Doing it as a trump? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Blood, you filthy. Being a music box, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions all over its face. Sorry, one moment. Okay, we're good. Those protrusions caused Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now.
Goodness, a bloodstain, is it?
My assistant and I have just analyzed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom, using my trusty Fogger gun. Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio.
I say,
It's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. Exactly. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Egbert Benedict, who was in Winterbanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. So there was someone else there. Oh, the two brothers now. Sweating bucket. Or, what are you talking about? It's boiling in here. My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Egbert Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify.
It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
This has gone on long enough now. This fragrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Holmes, you say? Yes, I've heard that name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection or some such. Now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court. I'm sorry, what? Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be court evidence. Shit, I guess it technically hasn't been proven. So the bloodstain turned the shade of green. What of it? Yes, you're successfully proving that no other blood in the world turned the same color. Well, I forgot about the boot thing. Pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Is he right? This is Sholmes' concoction or rubbish. I don't know, I mean, he's a great detective. What are you talking about? I can't let him get away with that. Shit. I knew it would come to this. Of course Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But what other choice did I have? I just remember what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the Summation Examination. In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it?
Good grief. What did you just say, young girl?
I love her. I love her so much. I love this child. This is my child, my daughter now. I love her. My child. And a submission examination. The decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now.
Yes, she's right. Young lady, you have quite the devious mind.
It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Reno. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something? I added my own little bit of sass to that line. Felt good. Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with. Iris Wilson, sharpshooter. Sharpshooter.
After that shrewd precious of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, she has a PhD in medicine.
Hello. Lost it. Okay, we're back. She has a PhD in medicine. Don't mess with her. You don't want to mess with her.
It must be acknowledged the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion.
This is absurd.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you to...
Why are you getting all fuzzy? It's a good thing I think we're almost done for the day, because why are you getting all fuzzy? Maybe it is a port thing. Pain in my ass it is. Could also be a wire thing, because I just kind of adjusted the wire a bit, now it's fine.
Your final news in the matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty.
What?
Guilty.
Not guilty.
That was unexpected. It works in our favor, so we're good.
2 called guilty and 4 not called not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination.
Objection!
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision.
On what grounds?
If These jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real place, and they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt.
I'm sorry, Lord Van Zyx, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. The trial will continue.
Wait, no, that sounded really bad. That sounded worse. That was not good. I need Ken to teach me how to scream. That'd be low.
Nevertheless, we found ourselves in a rather awkward situation.
At least scream in character.
The summation examination. Bloody Mary, oh the Mary.
Oh, close enough. My brain just also says, like, I have neighbors. I don't have any of the neighbors. Yep, new witness, we're bringing in Egbert. John Egbert to the stand. Wait, no, wrong Egbert.
The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible.
Don't fall asleep at work, that's bad. That's not a good thing. What?
The name the gentleman gave for himself, Egbert Benedict, is quite clearly false.
I don't believe it. That's when I managed to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something?
Who was that? Please, who spoke?
Wait, no, hold on. Guilty. It was me, my lord. Juror number 5? Today's not Friday. Today's Wednesday. No, today's Thursday. I'm all over the place.
What have you to say, madam?
If possible, Inspector.
Me, ma'am?
I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again. The one in which the gentleman is shown.
Right, yes. This one, you mean? Mr. Benedict?
She knows this man. It's Friday here in New Zealand? Oh, yeah. You're way ahead of where we are. Where I am, at least. Yes. No, guilty. There's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5. You don't mean to say. You know this man? Yes. No, hold on. Yes, I know him. What? No.
Good gracious!
There'll probably be at least a good save point in order to between parts of the trial. When you both New Zealand?
Order! Juror number 5, how on earth?
I am a communications officer. Stop. As we can clearly see, the gentleman in the photograph is, stop, also a communications officer. Stop. He works in my office. Stop. Look. Here's the problem. There's a lot of things that should have made jurors ineligible. If you were here for case 4, the one that we did previously, the defendant's landlady was one of the jurors. My office. Stop. A very talented operator, in fact. Stop. He should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tabbing away on the telegraph. Stop. Peg's right. Malpractice the game. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. I suppose we all imagine the culprit should be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find that he has a reasonable job by day, whatever he gets to at night. Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something was wrong.
If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zyx, if you please.
Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
Make the necessary arrangements with all haste.
As your lordship bids.
The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson?
Yes, my lord.
I should like to hear from you specifically about events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess.
Yes, sir, my lord.
Very well. Quarters adjourned until 1:40 p.m.
Look at that, we survived a little longer. Okay. I would like to get some food, to be honest. And we've been going for about 4 hours, so we've been going pretty far. I would say we're maybe halfway through this trial. Hard to say. We'll see what happens. But for now, to be continued. I want to thank you all for joining me today, for all my silly voices that I do. Hopefully we can figure out what the hell is going on with my microphone soon. I'll take a look at it. But until then, I will see you all next time. Saturday night, Genshin Impact. And the next week, oh shit, I don't know what game is replacing Elden Ring yet. Possibly Final Fantasy VII. Possibly I have other options. I don't know what I'm doing. What do you guys think? Oh, thank you, Dag. Yeah, it's very exciting. And yeah, you just so happened to Maya was gifting out subs yesterday, and you happened to get one by accident. Fun times, always fun times. Working on emotes. We're working on them. They're coming eventually. But yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking. Let's see. Yeah, right now I've got Control, Digimon Cyber Sleuth, Final Fantasy VII, Persona 4 Golden, and Octopath Traveler are the 5 that I'm looking at the moment to start up next week. The original. I've played the remake. The remake was a lot of fun. It was good. I've never played the original, which is why I want to play it. I've been meaning to play it since I played the remake, and it just hasn't happened. Oops. So, we might do that. What do you guys think? As I get ready to raid Bree, who I believe is still going. Yes. Yeah. The new one was so good. It was so much fun to play. It was so nice. Alright, I'm getting us ready to raid while you guys decide if any of those sound good. If not, I'll figure it out by then on my own. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and raid Bree. She's doing some art. Hope everyone has a great night or great day, whatever time it is for you, people over there in New Zealand. I will see y'all later. Thank you all so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. We are very close to the end of Greatest Attorney Adventures, and then we still have to do the sequel, which is still here. It is midday for you, Response. That's fine. I'll see y'all later. Some of you might even be in